Welcome. Oh, sorry about that. Welcome back to another episode of the monthly members only Q&A.
I'm saying a lot of rat millionaires.
That was one thing. Forgive me, guys. I get in the habit sometimes. But welcome to the monthly members only Q&A. I see some new faces, or not faces, but I see new names. So welcome, welcome, welcome. If you have not been to our monthly members only Q&A, welcome for the first time. Just so you know, we've been doing this for about a year for our membership community, and we record every episode. So it is not released to the public, but it is available only in the membership community. So if you've missed our past ones, you can catch all those recordings over in our membership community. Also, this is live. Hey, Brett. This is live, and we have a guest with us this week or this month. This is live, so if you look on the bottom of your toolbar there's a chat function. You can click on that, and it'll open a little bar over to the right-hand side. You can chat with other members of the group during this live Q&A, give them tips and tricks, and even ask questions. And when we get behind on questions, we'll pull from some of the questions over there. You can also, if you want to, there's an emoji at the bottom, a raise hand emoji. You can click on that. Or if you have your camera on, you can just physically raise your hand and we'll see that you have a question. But what we do is for about an hour every month just to try to give back to the community and help you run your business a little bit better. For the most part, there aren't any questions they're out of line or off base. We're just here to help and bring value in any way we can. Before we get started today, if you can see the camera there, our business partner at Launder Boost, Brett Lyon, is with us today. So we asked him if he could be here. He'll jump in and out of the membership community on a monthly basis as he's able to be here with us. We've been talking about AI and some of our new products and services a lot lately. So we thought some of you might have some questions around that or just marketing questions in general. He's not here to just sell you marketing solutions, although we're happy to do that if you have a need for them. He's also here just as our resident expert. So if you have any questions around your Google business profile or your websites or how to set them up or even how to run your own Google ads, we have limited time, but he's here to help in any way that he can. So we are glad that you guys are here. Carla, have I missed anything this week?
I don't think so. So type in the chat your questions or click raise hand.
Yep. Looks like we got 5 or 6 people in the chat, and usually that grows over the first 15 or 20 minutes. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, like once again, you can be as visible as you want to be. If you want to turn on your camera and
Unmute.
unmute yourself, you can ask the questions to us visibly if you want, or verbally. I'm struggling with words today. Um, I think I've already
Probably
been on the
because we
phone.
just had a 2 hour
I
call
know
already.
I think it's because I've already been on the phone a lot today. I've been in several meetings and all kinds of stuff. But hey, I'm a professional talker, according to Carla, so I had to be good at this stuff. But apparently my battery gets worn down as well. But anyway, welcome, Brett. Anything you want to offer before people start bringing in questions?
No, I'm just happy to be here. It's seems like a lot of fun, and I'm going to try to be involved with as many of these as possible moving forward. And then obviously, I mean, I can just kind of say a little bit about Laundry Boost and who we are and
Yeah, go
myself.
ahead.
But I've been in marketing for 5 years. Dave and I partner up. Probably close to a total of like 4 years ago now, right? But Laundry
Mhm.
Boost became a thing about 3 years ago. So I've been working very closely with Dave and Carla, just, obviously on the laundromat marketing side, and we've become extremely close over the last few years. And I fly down to all Dave's events and then take part in all of his Laundromat Millionaire events, and everyone who we meet there always has the most amazing things to say about what they've learned, and it's really nice to connect and network there. So this is just simply like another form of that, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions regarding it, be specific to your current laundromat situation, or maybe your network, or just any general questions you may have regarding marketing and the laundromat space.
Yep. Awesome. Well, we appreciate you being here, Brett. Brett's going to try to join as many of these as he can in the future. But guys, start bringing in the questions, or I'm going to let Carla talk about makeup and shopping.
Apparently, that's what I'm good at.
That's what
Makeup
you're
and
good at,
shopping.
makeup and shopping, or kids and grandkids, or dogs. All of her passions.
So we have John. Hi,
Hi,
John.
John.
Where's
How are
that
you?
coming from?
David, Brett, how you doing? Just saw you guys down in Columbus a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
absolutely.
How you doing? Good to see you.
Actually got a question
Sure.
about personal health insurance. I know
Okay.
Dave and Carla, you guys were in corporate jobs before
Mhm.
you went full time with the laundromats. We're kind of in a similar situation here. I left my corporate job a couple of years ago. My wife just recently left hers,
Mhm.
and her health insurance, which is what we've been using, is going to run out by the end of this year. So I was
Mhm.
kind of wondering if you all kept your corporate insurance or what you did when you transitioned to doing laundromats full time.
So we went through the same thing. First, Dave left his job and we went on my insurance because I was a teacher. And then once I, just a few years ago, left teaching, it's been 3 years now, working full time in the laundromat. So Cobra is way overpriced. So no, we did not keep our corporate insurance. We went the route of, are you in Ohio?
Yeah.
Okay. So we did which every state has it now, the Ohio marketplace. So we have an insurance consultant that we use who kind of keeps an eye on things for us as far as the different offerings through the marketplace. She's through Liberty Insurance, but there's a lot of them out there. It's basically like a broker for health insurance. So we use her to help us pick the best plan for us based on the hospitals that we want to use because in the marketplace, like, there's obviously different levels of policies, but then different companies will cover for different hospitals. So like if your doctors are in the Mercy group, then you want to go with this or this plan, or if they're in TriHealth, you want to go with this. So yeah, so there's a lot to know. So what I would do and what we did is we went to her with a list of our doctors and what practices they work through, and she helped us figure out what was best for us, what plan was best for us, and what currently sometimes different ones are offering different like lower premiums this year because they're trying to increase their customer base or whatever. So we've even switched a couple times based on current offerings because sometimes they'll offer a discount for a year and then it hikes up the next. We're like, okay, we're switching again. So that's what we did.
Yeah, and I will add this. So we did that after speaking with the same broker
Mhm.
about around the same time that Carla left her job, maybe a little bit earlier. We started offering health insurance to our management team, which is only like 6 or 7 people.
Mhm.
Everybody else is pretty much part-time. We have a couple full-time drivers and things like that. They're not eligible for insurance, but we around the same time we wanted to start offering health insurance. So we thought we might need a small group plan. And so we went to her to get kind of her feedback. And by the way, her services are paid for by the insurance companies.
Mhm.
So we don't pay anything directly for her services, like a typical broker. And she basically went through and explained to us that at the rate or the size that we were at, that it didn't make any sense. It would be very expensive to have like a group plan, even for our employees. So I'll take it a step further. We work with this broker every year. I think it's usually around, what is it, September,
Around
October?
October or
Yeah,
November, we
we
meet
kind
up with
of,
her
she
again.
has all the
The plans all
information.
renew for in December for January.
Yeah. So around October, so she has all the information for the new year for the Ohio plans and the cost and what we have to pay and the deductibles and all that stuff. And she kind of, in an hour meeting can basically lay out, hey, based on what you did last year, I think you should do this, this, or this. For our employees, what we did is instead of putting them on a group plan, we give them a monthly stipend of $350 a month that they can use for their insurance. And then they don't have to use her, but we refer them to her. And we say, hey, if you want to contact the same lady, or the same brokerage firm, they can help you in the same way they help us. And so our employees go to her and they say, hey, help me figure out what insurance I need based on my doctor and my whatever. And whatever plan they choose is up to them.
Mhm.
We give them a monthly stipend of $350 a month. Um, and then if they sign up for a plan that's 500 a month, they pay the difference. If
Mhm.
they sign up for a plan for that's 300 a month, they keep the $50.
Mhm.
But so every year we kind of increase that by about $25 for them, and then whatever they pay above them beyond that is up to them. And
Also,
that's worked really
the
well for
marketplace
4 or 5
plans, the
years.
price is based on your income. So she said basically by having them do their own plan, it's based on their income. And generally speaking, our employees, typically aren't in the highest tax brackets. So a
Mhm.
lot of times they can get a lot better rate by doing it themselves than for us getting a plan for them.
Mhm.
So
Because
there's that too.
yeah, there's probably a few managers that apply to that situation, but not our GM and assistant GM.
Yeah.
They're more like upper middle class. But anyway, that's what we've done, and so far it's worked really well.
Yeah.
If
I
our
can't say
team,
it's stellar insurance, but
yeah,
it does the job.
Yeah, and I think there's also like kind of I might be wrong about this, but I think for most people, there was for me kind of a stigma around the marketplace of like, oh, it's only for low income people that's
Mhm.
subsidized and et cetera. And there are a lot of people that do that with this government subsidies. But once you reach like whatever the 30 or 30 grand a year, whatever it is, where you no longer get those subsidies, it just becomes a regular insurance
Mhm.
marketplace. So there's, I don't know how many dozens probably of different
Mhm.
insurance companies. And among those companies, there's dozens of different plans. And you can choose from the different plans or different companies. And as she mentioned, I mean, you can change your plan every year, just like you would at an employer, when they have the open enrollment type of thing. And some years we've kept it the same and just been like, oh, we'll pay the extra $50. Some years we've not liked dealing with a couple of the companies and been like, man, they were a big pain in our butt. And so we switched and paid even more just so we didn't have to deal with that company anymore, or lower deductibles or higher deductibles or things like
Yeah.
that. So it's really not a whole lot different than dealing with your employer plans where they tend to lay out, three or four different plans that you
Mhm.
choose from. The only difference is, I mean, you can switch to different companies and things like that. So you have more flexibility.
I do recommend the broker, like you said,
Yeah,
like
for
we
sure.
don't pay anything extra for her, and she does all the dirty work behind the
There's no,
scenes for us,
yeah, she's no
figuring it out.
pressure. I mean, she doesn't care what I think whichever plan she signs us up for, she gets paid for them through
Mhm.
them.
Right.
So, as long as she sells us a plan, I don't think she really cares which one we buy. And her, and I think she has a small group of people that work there
Mhm.
with her. They're awesome. I mean, we just go in, spend like an hour with them, and we're set for the next year. She's like,
Okay.
How did you
okay,
find her?
here it is. How did you
Um,
find her?
how did I find her? It's been a few years now. I want to say I just Googled like
Yeah,
insurance marketplace brokers or something. I mean,
yeah,
I could set you up with her because technically, I guess she could do anywhere in Ohio if you
yeah.
want me to send you her information.
I
They're a
think
Yeah,
the
that'd
small
be
plans,
great.
company.
It'd be a good
Okay.
place to start.
yeah, I think the plans are based on states.
Yeah, they're state
Yeah.
plans.
Okay. Do you have his contact information or?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
do?
I have your
Okay.
contact
Okay.
information.
All right. Well,
Okay.
she'll shoot that over to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah,
No
for sure.
problem.
Okay, guys. John showed you how it's done. You just turn off your camera if you want to and ask questions like that. If you have more questions, follow-up questions, we can do that as long as other questions aren't coming in. You can also post questions over in the chat. Looks like Jean just posted one over there, so we can hit that too, Carla.
Oh, I see that. We have two new messages.
Oh, two.
Mine
There
weren't
we go.
popping up. Okay. All right. So we have Gene. He set up his company or uh, uh, or her. I'm not sure. Okay. Set up company laundry valet service on Google My Business. Received notice twice that my business has been suspended because my profile doesn't follow guidelines. There were no ads, just my business info. Okay, Brett, this is
Yeah,
going to be hitting you.
I would have already hated
Yeah,
it.
got it. Okay, so this let me just read that.
Do us a favor, Brett. Go ahead and
Um,
read the rest of it because anybody's watching the recording in the future won't be able to see the chat.
okay, the only thing that may raise a red flag was not having a brick and mortar place of business listed as we are
Uh,
still looking at different properties for lease. We offer only pickup and delivery services. Yeah, so that's probably your biggest issue right there is the way Google Business works is they do like to have a physical location. You don't necessarily have to have that. But you need to have something to show them that you are a legitimate and real business. If you're not able to provide that information, they're going to consider it as spam and you won't get approved. So obviously the easiest way of doing that is having a physical address. One thing is like you can't have multiple businesses with multiple addresses. And so that's like one thing. But there are ways of setting it up for I guess, remote companies. What you could do is reach out to us and we would be able to look further into it and help you and see if we can set one up without an address for you.
He said
If not,
he did list his home address as the
yeah.
address.
So
that probably
depending on
wouldn't
if
work
you,
either.
yeah, depending on if you list it, if you listed your home address and you're listing yourself as like a laundromat
Hmm.
or a service like that, then that won't get approved more or less because they're going to want to see that you're an actual business, right? So they even
Yep.
go as far as like asking business owners to take photos of the front of their locations inside their
Oh,
locations so you can see there's like active machines, parking lots, signage, everything to confirm that you are a legit business. So that's definitely why you're running into that issue. You would, if you want to try it again, like I said, you can contact us. We can help you. But if you're looking to kind of do it on your own, there's also like YouTube videos that can help you set up the Google business that doesn't associate with a local address and more of like a virtual business. So that would be
Are
the
there
best bet.
special steps to get it unsuspended?
You have to kind of go through the approval process with Google. So
Mm,
there are steps, yes, but in this situation, I don't know if they would work. So
okay.
yeah, you would probably reapply with just a location without an address, and you might have a better opportunity of being successful that way than using your business address.
I will throw this out there too. Excuse me. I did not click on it, but just the other day, I think I was maybe on YouTube, which is where I get a lot of my content. Um, and there was an ad on there for a company. It said something that all I saw was the headline, but it was a service that you can buy, and it basically said, "Stop using your home address for your business address." And it was some type of a virtual company out there because I'm sure this type of thing is becoming more common, right?
Mhm.
Where businesses are being created, but they don't have a retail storefront. And it was basically, and I didn't open it up or read it, the ad, but it basically insinuated there was a service you could pay for that like gave you a legitimate address that would work for a Google Business Profile. So I don't remember the company's name, but if you start poking around the internet, I bet you're going to start getting ads like crazy, probably from multiple companies that do that. Um, I wish I had more information than that, but I just saw it the other day, and I only do that because some of our companies we use our home
Mhm.
address for, and sometimes that can be an issue. They don't want you to use PO boxes, not our retail stores, but like Launder Boost and some other companies
Mhm.
that
Yeah,
we own.
yeah. They're called virtual offices, and
There you
there
go.
are
Okay.
there are opportunities like you can contact companies like that. Still, with like if you were applying to basically have your Google business like represent like a laundromat, it's going to ask you to go further and want
Yeah.
photos and everything you're looking for, signage, like I mentioned. But if you are signing up as like a virtual business in the first place with no address, then will let you kind of pass through to just have like your like a pickup and delivery type virtual
Hmm.
company without it. Now, it really depends on like the Google businesses without physical addresses are much harder to rank within your area. That's
Mhm.
another thing to consider.
Yep.
So, like, first of all, with any local business, they want to see a local location, right? That's
Hmm.
like the biggest thing. So, it's going to be harder for you to scale and get in front of people with a Google business, anyways, even if you had that. Now, like, the Google business isn't overly like as important for pickup and delivery as it is for local businesses because we want
Mhm.
like foot traffic to come to click on the directions tab, see photos of your location, visit, come into your location, right? For pickup and delivery, like really you just need to be providing a service in an area. So you just need a really quality website, which is what I highly recommend over anything else to show people that like you are a legitimate business, like you have a real offer and
Mhm.
service, and there's real people behind it. And then you would want to be really focusing on like Facebook advertising to create awareness in the area to bring people to that website. Or you can do Google ads. So anytime someone's searching for pickup and delivery, that website comes up. So like, I mean, I can even just do a quick little um,
And,
example here,
and while
if you
he's
don't
doing that,
mind.
well, yeah, go ahead. You should be able to share your screen if that's what you're trying to do. Um,
Yeah, I just
while
want to make
he's
sure it's gonna apply.
excuse me. While he's pulling that up, guys, keep the questions coming in the chat. Or as we mentioned, if you want to turn on your video and ask your
Mhm.
question that way, you're welcome to as well. We have a few more,
A few more
but keep those
questions.
coming, and we'll try to be as efficient as we can with the time. As I mentioned, if we notice that there aren't a lot of questions coming in, then we might spend a little bit more time on the questions that we have. Brett, let me know when you're ready. I'll throw.
Yeah.
Are you? I'll throw one more.
Uh, yeah,
He's
So
ready.
so it
I'll
wasn't
throw.
gonna, I'll just say this real quick. Just,
Okay.
like I'm in Canada, obviously, so I don't have anyone running an ad for it. So it's not gonna pop up right away. I wish I had an
Okay.
example of that. But what I can do is show you like an example of what it looks like on the location-based services. So location-based services for self-service on wash and fold, right? You're going to be able to see as soon as someone searches laundromat near me, the Google Business section is going to show up, and even there's a
Mhm.
sponsored ad being run right in the area, right? So that's typically what you see for like local-based services. Now, if you're in a city and you search pickup and delivery, it's not going to happen in my location because there's not enough people running it. But what will happen is there'll actually be like a real ad that goes to a website even before all this section.
Okay.
And that's why it's more important for pickup and delivery to actually be running ads to the website than it even is to your local business. Over something that's self-service and wash and fold related, you want to go into this section. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will confirm everything that Brett was saying. The reason I know that is if you guys know my story, when we launched pickup and delivery 10 years ago, we originally started with the name Laundry Magician, which was the name.
Mm.
We originally created a separate brand from Queen City Laundry, and we were running it out of our store. And I ran into all kinds of issues with this. So I learned a lot and I never could really overcome it. This is before I met Brett or started Laundry Boost or anything 10 years ago now. But back in 2015, 2016, I was trying to set up a Google business profile for Laundry Magician, but at the same address as my laundromat, and it wouldn't let me. It wouldn't
Mhm.
let me set up more than one. Then I contact digital marketing companies and I'm trying to get them to run ads for me. And they're all, oh, I can't run ads for you until you have a retail location. And then other one said, oh, we can run ads, but they're not as efficient, which Brett talked about a minute ago. So setting up that virtual business can be tricky, but I will say that I think there's more tips and tricks and content on YouTube and even these virtual storefronts or whatever Brett called it. There's more of that kind of stuff out there today than there was 10 years ago. But a part there was many factors, but a part of the reason we eventually just merged it all into Queen City Laundry is now we just have one Google Business profile for our store for each store, and our store in Amelia, which is where we run our pickup and delivery out of. It just has different services. So it has pickup and delivery, and it has drop off laundry and dry cleaning and even rug cleaning and different things like that that we offer there. And so if you look at our reviews, we even have a car wash, and we our reviews will talk about the car wash, and we'll talk about pickup and delivery and all the different services that we offer at that location. And it solved the problem for us. Of course, we had a storefront, but for ours was having two different separate brands.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was a nightmare, but I think there's more tools available now than ever.
So we have another question from Esther. I am currently building a laundromat. How soon should she launch pickup and delivery? She's already signed on a software company that does wash, dry, fold, and pickup and delivery.
Yeah, great question. I mean, the answer somewhat depends on your business acumen and your experience, because I always say in business, and I don't mean working at a business, but actually running a business. If you have experience in other industries running other businesses, at least 50%, sometimes as much as 75% of the skills and the tricks of the trade of running a business are transferable from industry to industry. If that's you, then you can do it a lot quicker because you're going to pick up our industry. You're going to already be 60, 70% of the way there and just have to pick up the other 30%, the nuances of the industry. If this is your first business you've ever run, and maybe you don't even have any corporate experience, I mean, and you're in the other end of the spectrum, you're going to want to take things a little bit slower. But the one thing I always caution people on is, of course, the answer to everything is it depends. And a big part of that is it depends on your starting point. So, like, I'm reading into your question here, and you're saying, I'm currently building a laundromat. So, I'm assuming you don't own a laundromat yet. You may or may not have a target date for your grand opening, your soft opening, different things like that yet. But those also, if there's a targets, that you may miss those and you may move those out. There's nothing that keeps you from starting a pickup and delivery business, but I think there's a really delicate balance between trying to do too much at the same time and kind of end up being become a jack of all trades, master of none, and a delicate balance between that and waiting too long. So the flip side is, let's say hypothetically your store is going to open in 2 weeks and that's guaranteed to happen. Well, I've heard people in the industry recommending, oh, run your laundromat for a year or two, get comfortable running a laundromat, then launch pickup and delivery. I actually just completely disagree with that too, because I think that's way too long. And the main reason why is part of this is learning from owning Laundry Boost, but part of it is learning from the coaching and the workshops. I can tell you that launching pickup and delivery, everybody thinks you're going to do all these things and buy a van and get a software, and then you're just going to be shot out of a cannon and have
Bam, you're going to
100
have a
customers.
1,000 pounds at your door.
Yeah, and it just doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way in a laundromat, but it works that way faster in a laundromat than it does with pickup and delivery. So I always tell people more often than not, when you launch pickup and delivery, it's going to be a whole lot of hurry up and wait. And then it's going to be a very slow grow and it will compound month over month. And the sooner you start that process, the sooner you can kind of get that snowball rolling downhill. So, as a general rule, I like to say if you already own a laundromat, or you just opened a laundromat, give yourself a couple of months. There's no reason you can't launch a drop-off laundry service and your retail laundromat at the same time. Those kind of complement each other because they're similar customer bases, same location. You're doing two things at once. That's usually not difficult.
As long as you're fully attended.
Correct, if you're fully attended.
Mm.
And then once you get those off the ground, I mean, you're really just talking like your soft opening, maybe your grand opening 8, 10 weeks in. I wouldn't wait any longer than 2 or 3 months to launch pickup and delivery because when you launch it, 99% of the time, the first day, you're not going to do anything. Like nothing's going to change for you. You're just going to sit there and run your laundromat, right? There will be decisions to made around running ads and campaigns and things like that. But as far as customers, logistics, and processing laundry, there's not going to be a whole lot going on. And so I want to get that ball rolling as soon as possible. And once you get it rolling, you might get one customer in your first week. And that gives you a chance to kind of slowly roll into that. But you'll take that 3 to 6 month period of time that you launched your store and your drop-off laundry. And if you wait 6 months or a year to launch pickup and delivery, and it takes another year or two to really get significant momentum, then you're really kind of putting yourself behind the eight ball. So I actually disagree with what a lot of people recommend in the industry, which is waiting a year or two. I think it's way too long. I think 2 or 3 months is totally fine.
Mm.
So that's my thoughts on that. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to post them in the chat,
Mm.
Esther, or feel free to turn on your camera if you want to have a little bit more of a conversation around it. It is a nuanced question, but as a
Well, and
general
we've
rule, that's what we look at.
we've even known people who, while they were building a laundromat, went ahead and started pickup and delivery,
Yep. I
doing the
almost went
laundry
there.
out of their house.
Huh?
I
Do it the other way around.
personally don't think that that's a great idea. For one thing, if people find out that you don't have a brick and mortar facility doing that laundry, I think there's a negative connotation to doing it out of your house. It just doesn't seem as professional. And then attaching your brand to something that isn't as professional, I don't think is a good look for you because if nothing else, you want to get your product right. It doesn't matter how much marketing you do if you don't get your product right. So wait till you can get your product right and professional. That's my opinion.
I actually agree. And I will tell you, whether they're fair or not, whether they're accurate or not, isn't really relevant. It's just a matter of there are stigmas. There are stigmas with quote unquote laundromats. There are stigmas with pickup and delivery laundry services that are run out of a laundromat, by the way. That's not
Mhm.
always a popular thing either. I don't want my clothes going to a laundromat, you hear that. And then there are stigmas associated with doing it at home. And it's because of the Poplins of the world and such shares and places like that, some of those people are rock stars and do an amazing service out of their home, out of their garage, out of their whatever, out of my laundromat, whatever. But the truth is, the majority of them, like they probably can't hold down a job. And that's the reason that they're doing this a lot of times, this little side hustle. That's not the only reason, but that's the stigma. And so when it comes to customers and you're dealing with higher end customers, a lot of times they don't like those things. So even if it's not fair, I would be careful with that. I agree with what Carlos said.
And if you hadn't heard, we do have a workshop where we teach you how to do pickup and delivery and the packaging and all that kind of stuff. Or we also have a handbook that goes with the workshop if you're interested. So
Yep,
you can
for sure.
check out that stuff on our website and you get a discount as a member.
Yep, for sure.
And
I saw that Steve posted up the, oh, somebody gonna say something? Brett, go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna comment just like a
Yeah.
quick like marketing perspective on opening a new location and the services. Like typically what we tell our clients is just make sure, especially because like everything that you do, each campaign, self-service, wash and full pickup and delivery, those are like three separate services, three separate campaigns that you want to run if you're going to be doing any paid advertising. With that comes budget for all three of them.
Mhm.
Pickup and delivery has a much longer lead time because there's trust that needs to be built and trust like associated with that before people put clothes on their front doorstep compared to
Yep.
just someone just coming into your laundromat, tapping a card on your machine or maybe leaving them there and coming them pick up. Like at that point, they know you, they met you kind of thing.
Mm.
So with that being said, it's like you have to expect to be spending more money longer term in order to build that client base and actually have that successful pickup and delivery business, which does happen, but it happens over time. Where self-service and wash and fold, like technically with the correct campaigns, you can be bringing people through the door the next day,
Mhm.
right? Because there's a lot less trust that needs to be built. They just need to know you're in the area, have a clean location, good reviews, good staff, and you're kind of on your way there. So oftentimes it's better to just like build out your foundation and then start to invest into your pickup and delivery afterwards because you have the money generated from your other core services to spend on that and gives you a higher likelihood of being successful. Now, to Dave's point, that doesn't mean you don't offer the service. It just means that you focus on building the foundation with your budget that you have more so than actually spending money and spreading out too thin.
Oh, yeah. Great points, Brett. One of the things I don't think we talk about enough in this industry collectively, not necessarily here, but in the industry, is that launching pickup and delivery is a lot of work, and then it's a whole lot of hurry up and wait, as I mentioned earlier. And then the next step to it is like launching pickup and delivery is a long-term business. Like it's a drag. And if you're trying to be shot out of a cannon and you want that business, it can be really, really frustrating and be really hard to be patient, right? And so there's a delicate balance between ambition and patience, right? You want to have ambition, you want to push the envelope and try to grow as aggressively as you can, but you also have to be willing to be patient for it to come to you. It is just not building a pickup and delivery business is just you're playing. It's a long game. And so you have to look at it. You have to look at it through that lens. And we've learned that through coaching and workshops and helping other people. We've learned it by doing it ourselves, and we've learned it even more as we've launched Laundry Boost. And so we even had to somewhat change our strategies of what we recommend people do based on the budget that they have available. And that's what Brett was referring to.
Yeah, and you can always turn a self-service into like maybe not you can't always turn a self-service into a wash and full client because those are two separate types of customers, but you have a chance of turning a wash and full client into a pickup and delivery client. They're already paying a premium price for a service that allows them to buy back their time. The pickup and delivery is just going to do that to allow them to buy back even more time by not having the worry of having to drop it off, right? So once you start building that wash and full clientele as well, and you're trusting you and they've used your service a few times, you can always just have your staff mention to them or even yourself, like, hey, why don't we pick this up for you next time? Like as they're dropping it off, right? And kind of upsell them because now you got them in front of you. So like to Dave's point, once again, like you don't have to actively be marketing that pickup and delivery service, but there's opportunities everywhere inside of your store to be acquiring pickup and delivery customers
Yeah, for sure.
just by offering it, not so much marketing it.
Hmm. Yeah, completely different things. I see Steve pointed out here. I'll just read it real quickly just to confirm. He says, I went through this last year. He's talking about the insurance we were
The
talking about a
health
minute ago,
insurance.
the health insurance. I went through this last year with the wife when the wife retired and I lost her work insurance coverage. She went on Medicare. Yeah, Medicare. I can't say enough about how beneficial it is to use a broker. Completely agree. And that's something I think we kind of stumbled into almost, but it's definitely beneficial. So.
Esther has some more questions. She says
I
she's
don't know if
gonna,
those were from her or from
yeah.
AI's now making questions. I didn't know what was
Like the
happening there.
formatting's so nice.
Yeah.
Good job, Esther. Um, she said she's planning on coming to our workshop in November if she's not traveling.
Awesome.
And then your questions are things that we're actually doing in the workshop. Craig and Michelle can attest to this. So, staffing, what are some of the key
Yeah,
traits we?
if you want us to comment on that,
Yeah.
The workshop.
Esther, it's worth the money. It's worth the time. It'll get you to a completely different level. Things that you can't even know you might want to know.
Yeah.
Dave and Carla will go through.
Yeah, if you want to spend money on anything, spend money on the workshop. Before you spend money on anything, if you want to do a wash, dry, fold, go to the workshop because you'll get a lot out of it. And you get Dave and Carla, and they're always helping you. And I mean, when
We're not paying them, I promise right now.
Yeah, no.
I mean, when I talk to like people like asking me what's the one thing I would do and what's the one thing I've done that I would recommend, I say go to the workshop. That is, and then you find like, we might use different things, or you and Dave and Carla might use different things, but the idea is the same. So if you want to do wash, dry, fold, this is what you need to do. Even before the clean show, go to the workshop.
Thank you.
Thank
guys.
you for that
I
promotion.
appreciate that. We agree, but we're a little jaded.
Yeah. So we do actually in the workshop go through all the different staffing positions and the key traits we look for, and then also exactly how we pay them and incentivize them. But to hear it for briefly here, you mentioned attendants for wash and folds. We call those processors. We have attendants, which are people in our store helping others. And then processors for us is a completely different position, and it is compensated completely differently. Like, they do not deal with customers at all. Their job is to get in there and pound out laundry quickly and correctly. We do emphasize the quality just as much as we do the speed. But one of the things we teach you in your workshop is the key to pickup and delivery and wash, dry, fold is keeping your processing costs down. And the key to that is speed. It's how many pounds they're doing per hour, but at a high quality. Like, they still need to package consistently perfect. So we have a lot of quality control checks that are throughout our process. And that's part of why our workshops are only in Cincinnati, is because you really have to be in our facility where we show you in action how we do it and all the different things we have in place to make our processors as efficient as possible so that they can work more quickly. And then as far as what we're looking for in them for a processor, they need to be kind of your go-getters. They have to be attention to detail, because we do your laundry the way you would do it. So our customers can pick what detergent, whether they want hot or cold, and extra rinse and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of, they have to pay attention to each individual order. So attention to detail, but then also like somebody who's willing to come in and sweat. I mean, it's like a factory, like fast-paced job, our processors. Attendants are completely different. Attendants are customer service, and they do some cleaning and stuff like that. Two very different positions, and we compensate them differently too. And we go into all that, but we have throughout our company, we kind of call it profit sharing or revenue sharing, I guess. But we have various incentives for our different positions. All of our positions can get tips on top of their pay, but like our attendants, who their responsibility is the customers and cleaning the store, but they do the drop-off laundry, they have different bonuses. They get 10 cents a pound for every pound that they process of wash, dry, fold. But then there's also other bonuses like comforters, they get $1 and all this kind of stuff. Our processors are a little bit different. They have to meet a certain speed per hour. Like, they have to maintain 30 pounds per hour that they process to even keep their job, because that's what our price is based on, them being at that speed. But they get incentivized by the pounds per hour that they average per pay period over that 30, they get bonuses for that. And because of that, it's a higher demand job. So we actually hire them in at like $4 to $5 over minimum wage, but a lot of them are making more like $8 to $10 over minimum wage. Because of those bonuses. And so that's that incentive. And it's an incentive to be fast, but also accurate, because if there's quality control in place, and I'm trying to do this really fast, but this is a big part of the workshop too. There's a lot of quality control in place where if they go fast, but they're not doing it to our standards, they have to redo orders, and it slows down their time, which then decreases the bonus, or they could even lose their bonus. So they're incentivized to do the job well, basically. Another thing you have in there about incentivizing long-term employees. We have a lot of our employees have been with us. We were just talking at the managers meeting the other day, 13, 10 years, some of them, 8 years, like of our managers, the newest one's been there 4, I think. But we have that profit sharing, like we kind of call it, all the way up through our management team. So the people who do the laundry get bonuses, but there are also bonuses like our store managers get a bonus for every pound of laundry that goes through their store, even if they don't touch it, because they're still responsible for the quality control and the employees and things like that. Our assistant general manager and our general manager, they literally get, a few cents for every pound of laundry that goes through our entire company. So they're incentivized that as our company grows, their paycheck grows too. So they love promoting our company. They love when we get new orders in and new clients in, and we just, like we just landed a big company account or whatever, and they are excited. They're like, yes, this is going to be a ton of laundry to do and to manage all the people and the staffing for this. But guess what? My paycheck is jumping up just like your all's, revenues jumping up. So that's a big way that we incentivize people, is through those bonuses. And then the other part, which you can't can't really quantify is that company culture. Just, we're kind of like a family. Like we care about our employees and we treat them as such, and we only keep employees that treat each other that way. Like we've let go of people merely because they weren't nice. That sounds funny, but like they just didn't adhere to our company culture, and they were causing negativity in our company culture, and that wasn't okay. I mean, we tried to coach them first, but it just wasn't right. So did I hit that? I feel like I just
Yeah, no, that was a lot.
talk top speed there.
No, that was great. And the thing I'll add, I mean, we still got about 20 minutes left. I know time flies in these things. So if you have questions, don't be shy. Make sure you put them in the chat, or like I said, just raise your hand, turn on your camera, wave your hands back and forth, whatever you mentioned. She did have a couple other questions here. I'll answer
Yeah.
unless we get any other ones coming in. One of them is around or two of them around cash flow and profitability. She says, "What's a reasonable timeline to profitability for a new store?" The truth is that varies a lot, but it's not uncommon for it to be 18 to 24 months for a brand new build to get to the black from the red. Now, obviously, you should be making progress. You should lose a little bit less every month. There's different ways to look at that too. Typically, people look at it through a cash flow perspective. So, depending on your interest rates and your terms on your loans and how far they're amortized out and things like that, those can all factor into cash flow. That's how I like to look at it, is cash. How quick can I get to cash flow positive? But it's not uncommon for it to be a year to a year and a half. So keep that in mind. What was the other one here?
I'm answering Steve in the
Okay.
chat.
Yeah, go ahead. Here it is. Your other question around, the other thing I'll say on profitability is the flip side of that equation too, is if you're building in a very underserved market where there's a lot of pent-up demand and the laws of supply and demand are what I call tipped in your favor, I don't want to spook you too much, because the flip side can also be true. I mean, you can open the doors and be cash flow positive within a few weeks. If there's a lot of pent-up demand and there's a lot of zombie mats in the area that are just printing money, and they're making money despite really not even serving the community, and you open this beautiful laundromat, I mean, you can get to profitability self-serve wise very quickly. Now, pickup and delivery is a different animal, as we talked about. Your prices factor in. A lot of times when you're opening a new store, you're trying to capture market share. And so a lot of times I'll recommend, 20% reduction in your self-serve prices for maybe the first 6 or 12 months to try to capture market share faster. Well, if you're discounting everything 20%, it's going to be harder to get to cash flow positive, right? So those are all factors of how aggressively you do those. And then the last one is your marketing campaign. Do you have a budget set aside for marketing? Are you going after this aggressively, or are you just opening the doors and praying? I always call it the field of dreams business model. If I build it, they will come. Which some will, by the way, but they may not get you to cash flow positive. I know we have other questions, so I'll probably skip ahead to some of this. You had one other question around, what are the biggest hidden costs or financial surprises I should prepare for? Honestly, when it comes to building the store, I hope that you have I mean, that's typically a pretty significant investment. I hope you have a coach or a mentor or even multiple ones. I hope your distributor's helping you as much as they can. But as a general rule of thumb, what I tell people is when it comes to your construction timeline and your construction costs, I usually try to put together the most aggressive budgets that I can, and then increase the time by 20% and the cost by 20%. So if you're building a new store, try to work with an architect, a contractor, GC, a distributor. They'll help you get the numbers that they believe are, the right numbers, possibly wise as far as a budget for the project. If that comes out to be $1 million, you can add 20% to that, and that's probably where you're going to end up. If they tell you it's going to be 6 to 8 months, you can add 20% to that, and you'll be lucky if you hit that number more often than not. That's just the reality of building a new store. And I use those same rules of thumbs a lot of times for even like retrofits. Craig and Michelle did a really big project. And I'm guessing that's probably what I told him, because if you're doing a complete retool like they did, like the odds of you coming in under budget and under timeline, I mean, unless you're Superman, probably not going to happen. So let's plan for, I always say let's shoot for the star, shoot for the moon and hope we hit the stars, I think is the analogy. So hopefully those help you a little bit. I don't know if those are hidden costs, but they're typically things that people don't think about or they don't prepare for budget wise properly. But if you build another 20% and 20% in and hope you don't have to hit those numbers, but if you do, you're still going to be feasible. That's really good. The last thing I'll throw out there is you can't have enough dry powder. Dry powder is just an analogy for cash, right?
Okay. Never heard it called dry
Oh yeah,
powder.
that's just because you don't. That's very common in the finance world. You don't live in the finance world, but anyways, yeah, very common. You can't have enough cash sitting on the sideline, or I call it runway a lot of times. So you can't have a long enough runway. You know, if you're taking off, if we want to use this analogy and run with it, if you're taking off a plane, if you have too much runway, no problem. If you run out of runway, meaning you run out of cash, you crash and burn, right? That might have been a very successful trip, but you just ran out of runway. You might have had a great business model and you just came up 3 months short on the cash if you could have just held in the game for 3 more months, type of thing. So that's the other thing I would advise you on that probably a lot of people get wrong is just not having enough cash sitting on the sidelines. And
So
we have some other ones while I've been rambling. So you're
yeah,
probably
I
getting
answered
organized.
Steve's question. He wanted to know specifically how much attendance versus processors make. For those of you, if you're watching it later, you kind of have a base pay, which is what you can advertise. So we advertise our attendance at about 3 to 4 over minimum wage. And when I say minimum wage, depending on where you're at, minimum wage, think of what does a starting worker at McDonald's get paid kind of thing. Because some minimum wages, I think it's like in Pennsylvania, it's like $7, but nobody actually works for $7. They start at 10. So 10 is kind of your minimum wage. Anyway.
Yeah, we call it relative minimum wage.
Yeah.
It's not always the legal minimum wage. It's what can you actually hire a
Can you
person
actually
for.
hire someone with no skills?
Right.
So we start attendants are about 3 to 4 over minimum wage, and then they tend to make about another $1 or $2 per hour average with just like tips and their 10 cents a pound for drop off. Where processors, remember, they don't deal with customers at all. They just come in and they knock out laundry. We advertise them at about 5 to 6 over minimum wage, but they end up making anywhere from 8 to 10. Ours do because, like I said, they have to get to 30 pounds per hour minimum. Ours average around 45 pounds per hour minimum with all the efficiencies we have in place. And we have some that even do more than that. So really, depending on how hard they can work, they can make a lot more money per hour. And it ends up actually, the faster they are, saves you more money. Like you actually, it increases your profit margin, which is something we all teach in the workshop. We have a question from Craig about Launder Boost services.
Yeah, if you want me to. So
Yeah.
this is kind of a multi-store question versus single store and advertising. So we've used Launder Boost services to market our pickup and delivery. And during that process, I, as an engineer and very precise person, went through all the different zip codes I wanted to advertise to. And it spanned quite a large area, all the way out to, if you know, Sacramento, all the way into Roseville and whatnot. But what I did notice was historically, we've had our customer acquisition has been within maybe about 5 to 7 miles max around the center of the store, if you will, that level. And I was thinking, Dave, about how you started this conversation. You talked about your multiple stores, and we're also thinking maybe another store at some point. But to acquire more of the pickup and delivery, is it potentially that Google and we use Google clicks through Launder Boost primarily to advertise. Do you think Google is limiting our radius, or is it maybe it's something else, or maybe we need multiple stores? This is kind of just an open-ended question. Maybe Brett can jump in. Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing Brett can maybe hit some technical things that I don't know, and maybe I can learn something too. But I will throw out there that with our stores, if I had time, I'd pull up a map. But with our stores, to give you an idea, we service about roughly 700 square miles in the Cincinnati area. It's about 70% of the metro area. All of our stores are all within 15 miles of each other in the southern part of that. So we
As far
we
as
don't.
for Google, it's deliveries only attached to the one location too.
It is, but we're running ads for all the others. I don't know the technicality of it, but I will tell you that having a brand presence of 4 locations that, one day might be running self-serve ads and another day might be running drop-off ads. And of course, the fact that we've done it for 15 years definitely factors in. I'll also tell you that, once again, just pick up and delivery ads as a general rule are there's a lot of nuance to it. So I'm trying to think back to when I was coaching you, Brett, Craig. But if I remember correctly, your store was in like a residential pocket, and then there was. Am I remembering right that there was some industrial areas, or there was a bridge we had to go across? Am I
Yeah,
remember some of the
it's
geography correctly?
almost like a square, and we're in the
Yeah,
upper left corner, and
yeah,
then you have it's bounded by actually a river,
a
and then you
river.
have
Yeah,
beyond that, and then
yep.
you have a freeways on
Hmm.
the other two sides of the squares. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is a bit of a jump. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, zip codes are the way we post ads out there. I'll let Brett, like I said, speak to the technicalities of it, but I can tell you that I mean, when we launched pickup and delivery, if you remember from the workshop, we eventually reduced our territory down by 40%. I mean, a big part of the reason we did that is because we were running just as much Google ads in that 40% area. Our budget was just as high for those areas as the other, let's call it 60%. And we had like a 10% of the customers in that 40% area now that happened to be geographically as far away from our store as physically possible. And that's why we eventually decided to just abandon those area. And by the way, those aren't industrial areas. They're residential areas with a lot of single family homes and apartments and things like that. There was certain zip codes in certain parts of the community that we just never gained traction from. They were the furthest distances from our store. So I don't know if there's a direct correlation there, but I can tell you, like we had ad spends, and this is before Launder Boost, but we had ad spends and Google ads running with 6 or 7 different companies for like a 6 year window before I finally gave up.
Mm.
So I do think there's some correlation between having a retail presence in that area, but it's hard to quantify how much it is.
Like, are you thinking Google actually
I don't.
shows your ad more to the people closest to you, even if you've
That,
listed others?
that's what I'm expecting is
Yeah,
happening.
I don't know. Brett, you would probably be able to speak to that better than me.
Yeah, and Craig, we can touch base too. I'm just kind of brushing up on your account right now while we have this conversation, and I can see like, yeah, your foot traffic is doing really well for like your wash and flow and your self-service, like these things. I'm not seeing. Well, let's talk about your pickup and
Yeah.
delivery
Um,
after that.
Due to budgetary constraints in that runway that Dave's talking about,
Hmm.
we stopped advertising for pickup and delivery. I guess it was
Okay.
around January.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And we'll pick it back up once we get more traction in the store. But that's a future discussion. But I mean, geez, it was at least 6 months of advertising, and it, our impact was it was just within
Just
that
local,
window.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I can speak to that. So currently, right now, obviously, you guys got the wash and fold and the self service and things are. I'm looking at your numbers right now. They look really great. I wish I could almost share. It looks everything's green right now. This would be a good this would be a good time to show these reports, but I won't do that to you. But the
Brett,
next thing.
you're one of our partner companies. I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. On the pickup and delivery side, so here's kind of what can happen is basically what Google will do is it'll look for like the best opportunities. So we can give it all the zip codes, right? But at the end of the day, like you have a certain amount of budget for that day, right? Or that month. And Google is going to spend it where it feels it's going to get the best results, right? So if more people are kind of closer to your store and they're looking for the same things, it'll likely, and it feels like those are high, those are like maybe better opportunities than the ones that are like in the distance. It'll spend your budget a little bit quicker in those areas, which is probably kind of what was happening for you guys, which is why you were seeing business closer to your location than outside of it. So like what you could do technically is like exclude certain areas if you really just or separate campaigns and just make it specific to one zip code and not bulk those zip codes altogether. But then what you're doing is you're just spending money like hoping that these zip codes have opportunities in it. But by putting all the zip codes into the same campaign, you're actually just leaving it up to Google to just find you the best opportunities that it's going to essentially feel like it's going to work best for your business. So this is like kind of an assumption, but like you know, um, I think that what would happen was, or what happens is it'll eat up like you have that opportunity right out your front door and it spends your budget and it eats up those opportunities and eats up your budget. And then it's not going to even focus on things farther away from
I, I
so
want
if
to
you,
I want to interrupt you, Brett, because I never considered that before, but that actually makes all the sense in the world from Google's perspective.
Yeah.
Like it never occurred to me Like literally right now, it never occurred to me to have different campaigns with different budgets that are only doing these zip codes and not competing with these zip codes because geographically Google knows that even though I'm a pickup and or because I'm a pickup and delivery customer, it knows that pickup and delivery customers that are within 5 to 7 miles of my store are more profitable to me, which they are, right? I don't have to go as far to get them. So if I have a limited budget of, let's just say $500 a month, which is I think roughly $20 a day or something like that, and I'm burning through that every day, I'm going to make this up, but am I correct in assuming Google might their algorithms might actually say like, hey, since we're burning through this budget real quick anyways, how about we stop presenting ads or reduce presenting ads in the least efficient parts of your territory, and let's keep that 20% open for 12 hours a day instead of 3 hours a day, but spend all of that $20 a day budget within a 5 to 7 mile radius of your store. That never occurred to me, but
Yeah,
that's powerful, actually. Hmm.
it can happen, and it's like I said, you can break all those up into individual campaigns if you really like. If there's a zip code that you really, really want to focus on, like, hey, this is where I want to make my money. This
Yeah.
is I'm trying to grow this zip code. You can put that all into its own campaign, but like the chances of
Hmm.
success are just like a lot lower because you're not basically letting the platform do what it does best. You know what I mean? Like you're just hoping that
Which
that
is
zip code is
let
going to
it make the
provide.
decisions for you.
Let
Is that what
it
you
let it
mean?
make yeah, like we have
Yeah.
everything set up. We have all of our bidding. We have
Hmm.
everything organized that we need to do on our end, and all of like our we have people that go into accounts every single day. But at the end of the day, like you still want the machine to have that, like that machine learning aspect, you know? So one thing is like, for example, to like Google Ads. So let's just say for on the average, a $5 per click is like pretty good for pickup and delivery on Google, right? So if you have a budget of like $1,000 a month, which is kind of what we recommend for pickup and delivery, not for self-service and wash and fold, you can do those for cheaper. But for pickup and delivery, and you divide that by like 30 in a day, right? Or sorry, divide that by 30 days, right? So that's $33 per day that you're going to be spending on Google. That only equals, and then you got to divide that by
Hmm.
$5, right? So that only equals around like 6 clicks per day that you're
Hmm.
acquiring. So you are
Mhm.
giving Google the opportunity to go and gather you 6 clicks per day for your service. It's going to gather those 6 clicks from places that it feels like it's going to those 6 opportunities to give you the best opportunity or the best success rate to close a client or to earn a
Hmm.
new client. So if your 6 people are within a 6 mile radius or your 6 clicks, then that's kind of then you're out. The only way to really go past that is by spend more budget. And then $5 a click is quite good. Like that's
Hmm.
like where we look to get all of our clients to pick up and delivery,
Yeah, and if
So
you're gonna get hypothetically 6 clicks a day, I'd rather have them within a 5 to 7 mile radius of my house. But I'm actually starting, so I don't mean to hijack this, Brett, but now this has opened a whole can of worms for me because now I'm starting to wonder, like, man, maybe that part of my territory, which is less efficient, maybe maybe the reason we didn't capture as much because it is always threw me off that we weren't capturing anywhere near as many customers in those areas. And I guess my point is it might have been Google the whole time. Daggone Google. Daggone you.
So what you could do is like you can start running like awareness ads in all these other
Yeah.
zip codes with like Facebook, like Craig, we can talk about that. I know that you played around a little bit with Google or sorry, with Facebook and everything too. But you can start running like awareness ads in those zip codes, just getting people interested to give you their phone number, email, text, right? And then reaching out to those people manually. So like we can
Hmm.
text message them and email them and then also like the owners can get the lists of those numbers and call them and just say like, hey, like we have AI call them, of course, do like an AI cold call. It's kind of warm because they just gave you their information, but AI reach out to them in the form of like a AI call center. Or the owner can just pick up the phone and just call those people individually and say, hey, like we noticed that you are interested enough to give us your phone number and email. Like we'd love to come pick up your laundry, 15% off your first time or whatever it may
Hmm.
be. But make that like personal touch. So there's other ways to kind of do it outside of Google in situations that like you're in right now, Craig, which like we'd be happy to obviously discuss.
Yeah, I would really like that, Brett. Maybe I'll schedule a call with Sam and move it forward, or yourself, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you if you
we're
do it next week, I can be on it.
okay. Yeah, well, I'll I'll suggest something a couple of times that worked with us. We are absolutely still doing the Google, as you can see, and we're starting to play around with Facebook and Instagram, just boosting. But Michelle and I will make the calls. If we can generate even a warm lead, we will absolutely sit down and make those calls. We will not leave it to AI. And Michelle's amazing at landing folks. Yeah. So yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Awesome.
She's humble, but she's
Well,
good.
you know, I love these calls because we get to help people, and that's what we're here to do. But man, any time I can walk away, Brett, I might be calling you in 5 minutes now. Because anytime something opens in my mind, I'm like, wait a second, what I thought was right was wrong for 10 years. Got it. So, Craig, I appreciate it because I think we just kind of blew my mind a little bit.
One little follow on is, so second store opens.
Yeah.
I would imagine, Brett, we come to you and have a whole different campaign and budget around that store.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, and the good thing about working with us with multiple stores, right, is like our fees may go up like just a tiny little bit, but it doesn't go up, it doesn't double because you have double locations, right? So you'll still be able to, you'll just basically be able to reap all the benefits you're reaping right now for like maybe a small little fee on top of it, not double the amount of a marketing fee, right? So that's the good news. You're just adding a couple more campaigns, a new location, and we can manage it all under one account still for you. So and it's not like you're spending your only thing you're gonna be spending money on really is just like on the playing field and not with us because we already manage your account.
All right.
It doesn't cost us much more to manage 2 locations than it does 1, is this point. You just need more dedicated ad spend for the other locations. So listen, guys, we are out of time. I see Esther posted real quickly, and I don't know if Carla, yeah, she did answer it. Esther asked if Laundry Boost does geofencing, and we do. So yeah, Esther, anybody on the call, if you want to check out more at Laundry Boost or chat with Brett and the team, just go over to laundryboostmarketing.com. And by the way, hopefully some of you will be at the Clean Show in August. Yeah, thank you, Brett. But if you are, come over and check out our booth. What is it? 1067? Is that our booth number? Yeah, come check out the booth. The whole team will be there. So that'll be awesome too. Just a reminder, guys, we do this every month as long as you are a member of the Laundromat Millionaire community. So be sure to check out those recordings. They can be very valuable. We never know who's going to be in the calls and what questions they're going to have and even what kind of business model they have. So I think we have well over a year's worth of these now.
Oh, yeah.
Recordings, 2 years. Okay. So go check those out. That's part of your community membership. You can't answer questions, obviously, because it's a recording. And then just look for these messages every month. We change the dates and the times every month that we do these to try to give everybody access to them. But we'll see you next month. Okay.
Yeah. And also on the recordings, if you open it, it has a list of what topics are discussed in order.
Has timestamps.
So you can even just click through and look for one that's talking about something that you're interested in as well. That's why I take notes during them so that they have that list.
Yep. That makes it easier too. So if you see a topic you want to hit on, you can just fast forward right to that point.
Yeah. So,
all right. Awesome, guys. It was great seeing you. And if we don't talk before then, we'll see you guys next month at the members only Q&A. Take care, everyone. See ya.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks.
Guys.
Bye, guys.